Alright, thanks Barry. So let's have a look at simplification of large assemblies in the real world scenario. I've just got open here a quite large bulldozer assembly, or a moderately large. It's over 11,000 parts, as you can see there, and it's a very detailed assembly. First thing I'll do, I'll just switch back to the simplified version of whatever sub-assemblies I've got in here. And these are the tracks that are in there at the moment. So I'll just open up tracks into a separate file. Now this is what we want to just focus on simplifying at the moment. Quite a lot of parts in here, and there might be, for example, IP that you don't want your downstream viewers of this file to see. So I'll just switch, and we'll first of all just work on the pulleys. Okay, these are the pulleys. There's quite a lot of detail in them. So we've got a new ST6 enclosure command, and it basically encloses the selected components or geometry. In this case we want components, and we just want a cylinder. So I'll create an enclosure around there. This plane sets the orientation, and we've got our first enclosure. I'll go ahead and do that for a few more, and I can, as you see, I can do one or more parts in each enclosure. This one I'll just set to a box, and so I've got a few enclosures there. Now I've got multiple copies of each of these parts. That's where the duplicate body command comes in. I want to duplicate this body wherever I see this part. It finds them all in the assembly and then duplicates it. I'll just continue and do that for the other parts. Yes. Duplicate this body wherever I see this part. Now this is an interesting one because I've got two styles of rollers in here. One is a single-sided roller and one is a double-sided roller. If I want the same simplification to apply to all, I just select both types, and then it goes ahead and applies that to all of the bodies. Same goes with this bearing block. There's an inside and an outside block. So I want to get not just the inside, but the outside as well. So that's quickly created the simplification of those blocks. So now we'll switch our attention to the tracks, because there might be some, IP sensitive information in these tracks. So I'll create a box enclosure on this, but I want to expose a little bit more detail around the top of this track. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to project some of the edges of the original parts, and I'll cut that out to expose the detail of the top of the track. That may not be, for example, what I need to protect. So I'll just cut everything above to the side, and to make it look pretty, I'll add a round in there as well. And I've now got a body, simplified body, which I can duplicate in exactly the same way as I did the previous ones. Lastly, I just want to see the rest of the parts in the assembly, and I want to get some of the accurate detail off these edges, off these mounting flanges, because I want to be able to mount this assembly whether or not it's in the simplified version or the full detailed or designed version. So I've grabbed that, then I'll just thicken those surfaces. I'll thicken them on both sides so I can mount it easily regardless of where I am. And I'll close the simplification. This takes me back to the track assembly, and I can just validate whether or not this is actually what I want just by clicking on the simplified assembly and saying show only. This is now just the simplified tracks. So that is what I want. Save that, drop back to the main assembly. Now we're just going to place these tracks, still simplified, into the main assembly. So I'll just go and grab them here, just drag them in as I would any other part. And I'll just use Quick Pick to select the back face. I want to mate that against this face. Then I want to make sure that I mate not that cylinder, but the inside cylinder of that tube with there. And lastly, I'll just zoom in to mount one of the bolt holes. I'll grab this bolt hole here, mate that up to align it. And there I've very quickly placed the simplified tracks into the simplified body. So that's just some of the new tools in ST6 for controlling and generating quite tightly, good IP safe models that you can pass downstream to your customers. So I'll just pass back to Barry now.